Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm going to be reviewing a martial arts film titled The Eight Masters. Yes, sorry folks, because I haven't reviewed one of these in a while, so I'm going to take this as an opportunity, as an excuse, to do so. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite genres of film, folks, so, yeah. So, I just thought I would do this, folks, of course. So, as usual, I do have the top of the plot, so let's just get into it, shall we? Oh yeah. In this particular film, things get pretty crazy, of course. Rescued from his house as a child and is sent to the Sojin Temple, our main character here learns that the martial arts and the virtues of patience and mercy, of course. However, the thing is, things become really interesting upon reaching manhood. He sets out to reunite with his blind mother and cousin. His refusal to involve himself in fighting and injustice, of course, is challenged because I guess he doesn't want to use violence, I guess you can say. When the Eight Masters had kidnapped his mother as vengeance for his father's misdeeds, so to speak. So somebody does have his own past, let's just say that. So, I guess this film is somewhat of a, sequel-ish, kind of, sort of, to another film with a similar setting, so to speak. And, yeah, this goes on to a few titles, actually. So it might get a little confusing for some people who aren't really aware of this kind of thing. You could actually just see this one, folks, which I honestly felt that this one was probably the best one of the bunch. So anyway, I did like the action scenes in here. They were really intense and whatnot, of course. There's a strong story, of course, I can say, with good fighting scenes, engaging characters. And of course, this film really does attempt to have a gripping emotional undertone, which is fine by me, of course. So the actor returns in this starring role as the main character, the son of course, is this fighter. Of course, he's really good at martial arts, of course. And, of course, he runs to the notorious Eight Masters. So, as a boy, he was actually rescued by his father's friend, so to speak, and is taken to this particular temple where he learns of his skills of the Sojin Masters and grows up to be a really good person, so to speak. So he graduates in some ways, and he of course has to beat up some people and whatnot. So back in the outside world, our main character does reunite with his mother and this particular person, so to speak, because the mother is really, of course, important to him. Obviously, the Eight Masters come looking for him, obviously, and do challenge him into a battle, but of course he refuses, recalling the promise he made of the Shojin monks to keep the peace and have patience and forgiveness of a certain offense, of course. So he does flee the country with his mother, and after the masters had pretty much tracked him down, the three flee again, but this time around to a cave. It goes It turns out that not all of the things may not be seen peaceful as they seem to be, of course. I do like the fact that the fighting in this particular movie is fast and furious, like you may expect. And I did like how the locations are really well shot. Even within the scenes that have within the interior scenes like the houses, temples and whatnot, they're really nice to look at. They're really, really nice to look at. And even the fight scenes are really nicely choreographed. All the fight scenes are really nicely choreographed. And one thing I'll definitely give a compliment here is that the action scenes are not overly edited. And that's the thing. I miss this style of fighting, folks, because it's not extremely edited. It's not really choppy in the editing. Thank goodness. Oh yeah, I do know that Hollywood does attempt to mimic this kind of fighting style with movies like this abomination here. This display of assery really attempts to have a bunch of fight scenes like the old school kung fu movies, but the editing for the fight scenes are so damn choppy. Ooh. So yeah, that's clearly isn't here. The fight scenes are really nicely done. We don't see like every punch, every kick gets chopped up in the editing room. We actually get to see like the punching. Some of the fight scenes don't even have an edit within, you know, a few minutes. So, which I think is pretty cool right there, folks. The overall premise itself is pretty good, I guess you can say. I like the overall film, of course. It does have a pretty good story, I believe so. And I know this film is definitely one of the more obscure stuff I'm reviewing, folks, but that's fine. I like reviewing stuff that hardly anyone talks about, of course. There's various weapons that the characters would use, of course. And even though he primarily fights with his hands, but that's fine by me. While his opponents will definitely use various weapons, of course. So everything does come out well balanced, if you ask me, folks. And the acting is actually quite good. And even though the voice dubbing isn't exactly all that great, really, but it's the voice acting, the dubbing is actually better than some of the other stuff I've heard. So, you know, that's something. I do recommend this film, folks, for those who have not seen it. Just give it a chance. You don't necessarily need to watch the other two, like I was saying before, folks. You could just watch this one and it'd be just as fine. But anyway, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. The overall film is good, folks. So this is something I really do recommend. Anywho, The Eight Masters gets an overall rating of a 7.010. It gets a 7.010 from me. As always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time.